Alberta has similarly worded broad legislative schemes. So a work site in Alberta is defined again as where a worker is or is likely to be engaged in an occupation. And it can also include things such as equipment, which is used in the home workspace. So it doesn't typically include personal property as equipment for purposes of the workplace, but if that personal property is used to carry out work, it may be captured. So we're again looking at things like a person may own a desk chair and a desk and have monitors, but like Rob flagged earlier, if those are being used for work, you may have an obligation to start to consider, should we be providing that employee some new tech or some new ergonomics to make sure that they're going to be safe in their workspace. So we do have some tips to try and mitigate some of those risks from OHS or WCB perspectives. And really they focus on managing those workplace risks and hazards just like you would if they were working within the office. So you still have that general obligation to maintain occupational health and safety. And it's a great practice to start to establish written protocols just like you would for the workplace, but tied to that remote working from home. As an employer, when you're paying employment income, you need to determine your employee's province or territory of employment so that you can make sure you're withholding the proper deductions at the payroll step. And this depends on whether the employee is physically present and reports for work at your place of business. If they do report to a place of business, the employer's proper place of employment is going to be where that establishment is located. So if I'm in Edmonton, I go to my office in Edmonton, Alberta is going to be my province. There's no minimum time of a cap or a threshold to pass before that province is established, but there are some difficulties when you have individuals who are working perhaps in one province, living in another, and it can be a bit complicated. One of the first important considerations is gathering the information that you need so that you can decide how to act. So when we're dealing with something like a medical need, it's going to be, again, going back to that documentation from a physician. If it's a family status accommodation, maybe clarifying exactly what their needs look like and sort of a length of time that they anticipate that lasting. Now, again, we're not held to a level of perfection as employers. So instead, we're really focusing, again, on what's reasonable accommodation in these circumstances. We're still going to be considering what legitimate needs do you have as an employer? What is possible? What's reasonable?